I think it's about time we can roll in Mr. Franzese. Let me bring him in right now. And let me bring him in. Let me unmute him. All right. There might be a little bit of a glitch with my face. I am anticipating a bit of a glitch with my face, but we'll see. We'll see. We can see Michael at least. Oh, we can see both of us. Oh, there you are, Mr. Franzese. Can you hear me?
I can, Aria. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Everyone, can you hear Michael on his end over us? Let us know in the chat if you can hear Michael. Merle says he's very excited for the interview. Yes, hello to St. Louis. Michael, we're getting a lot of love for you from around the world right now. The icon, someone's saying.
Well, much appreciated.
Well, just give a little bit of a debrief for people tuning in right now. Michael and I, we worked on a couple of videos for BuzzFeed together. And I will say this, Michael, when we first scheduled the first shoot, so the video we did for BuzzFeed, the first one was, it was called How I Stole $8 Million as a mafia boss or something like that. And I will say, I was so nervous meeting you for the first time because, when you hear the term, a mafia boss, you have preconceived notions in your mind. But honestly, Michael was, ranks there amongst the very top best people I've worked with at BuzzFeed. A very kind, generous man, very gracious man. So we appreciate you once again for being here with us on the stream, Michael, to chit chat about everything.
Well, I thank you. And obviously, as you know, I've told you many times, you are very gracious and talented host. So we appreciate it and told you I'd be available anytime you wanted me.
That's, you love hearing that. I love hearing that. So, so thank you very much. No, thank you. It's my pleasure. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone that's here with questions for Michael. People saying, hi, Michael. Yeah, I see some questions popping up here. Like I said, for anyone that has questions for Michael, you got to throw them into the Discord because we don't want to lose them right now. Before we begin, though, I want to say very quickly, Michael, we talked about this, but I don't know if anyone knows this, but Michael is a co-owner, correct, of a pizza franchise called Slices. And one of the first things that he ever told me was that they were opening up a location here in LA. And thankfully, despite the pandemic, one was open in downtown LA. And I have right here, Michael can't see this but because he can't see my camera, but I have here in my hand 2 beautiful slices of Slices USA Pizza. That's the name of the brand. I just want to give that a quick plug because I'm very excited because I've been hearing about this pizza for a year. Michael, what can you tell us about this pizza I'm about to devour on camera?
Well, I'm excited that you're about to have it. I know you're going to love it. You're going to enjoy it. Long story short, myself and a very dear friend of mine, that we go back to Brooklyn almost 40 years ago. And he's been in the restaurant business for quite some time. And I've, partnered up with him on different places. And about 2.5 years ago, he came to me and he said, Michael, we're going to go into the pizza business. And, his name is Tony. A lot of Italians are Tony. I said, Tony, what's going to separate us from everybody else? There's pizza everywhere. And he said, give me 1.5 years to 2 years and I'll show you. And he traveled around the world, went to Italy and created not only a great pizza, a formula for a great pizza, but a great system that, works well for a franchisee. So I'm very excited about it. The pizza's great. It's like nothing you ever tasted before. And I know good pizza. I come from New York. I'm very fussy when it comes to that, but I can tell you you're going to enjoy it. It's different. You're going to love it. And hopefully people around the world will get to experience it over the next couple of years.
There you go, everybody. That's it. That's the pizza. I'm going to try it right now. I got a slice of the pepperoni and I got a slice of the margarita.
Well, pepperoni's my favorite, always, in any kind.
Okay, so I'll start with the pepperoni. Yes, everyone. So Slices USA is the name. We got a link in the description below, so there might be a location near you. I put it. Yes, someone mentioned the foil. People asked because I put this in foil. I had to heat it up again, but some people are telling you that saying it looks good. People are saying it looks good. Someone says that they're starving looking at it. So we have a little bite of this magic. But before we begin, Michael, I guess while I'm enjoying this delicacy right here, why don't we start with the first question for you?
Got it.
We got a lot of questions. Oh, you know what? We're gonna keep this very we'll keep it very easy at first. Now, this may be one of the hardest questions you actually received in your career, but when you're eating your cereal, do you put your milk or cereal first? This is a question from Megan87.
I always put my cereal first and then my milk. And, I was never big on cereal until I went to prison. But in prison, that's all I ate, cereal and bananas. And that was kind of like my favorite meal, because sometimes you don't know what you're going to get there, what they put in the food. So cereal, you're always safe. Comes out of the box. The milk is there. But it's always cereal first, milk after. That's a tough question.
Tough question, but I was going to say I got distracted because I've been eating this pizza, and it's fantastic. And I will say, this wasn't even fresh. I kept this. I bought this earlier today. Got to put it in the oven, but I love it. You know what? I'll
I'm
say it.
glad, I'm glad you put it in the oven because one instruction that we give is you don't microwave it. That pizza's got to be warm.
Oh no, no, no. That would be disrespectful to the pizza.
Great.
A lot of dough too, which is nice because a nice little bite. Is there a reason why it's square? Again, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Michael's Pizza.
Well, it's Sicilian style as far as that it's square, but it's far different from Sicilian because as you see, it's very airy and light. The crust is airy and light, not like Sicilian pea that's a little more doughy and a little bit more filling. But, again, we have our own formula. Every product, including all the equipment, comes directly from Italy. The flour is a special formula that we have, all of the tomatoes, especially imported from Italy. Everything is our own formula. And we spent, like I said, almost 2 years developing it.
Well, it shows. And I'm not just saying that because I certainly would not want to be lying to you.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And that'll be the first of many slices that you have since you live pretty close by the one.
I live pretty close by. But anyways, let's begin with some questions for you from the chat. So we have a lot of questions, but I'm looking away right now because I'm looking at the questions we have here. So I guess a question. This is an interesting one. We had a couple of people ask this. This is from Karina Animations and the Psycho. It deals with women in the mob life. The question is simply, can a woman be a mob boss? But let's branch that out as far as just women in general in the mob life. How did that work back in your day?
In my experience and everybody that I've ever spoken to that's part of that life, women are just not part of the life. It's not a life for women. And, you don't put women down in that respect, but I think women are above the mob life, quite honestly, because there's things that you do that, are just not becoming of a lady and you shouldn't put her through something like that. And, that's why in Godfather 3, when, the sister played such a major role, I kind of lost it, because of that, because it just doesn't happen. I'd like to think that we had more respect for our women than to bring them into something like that.
Fascinating. Well, you talked about The Godfather Part 3, and I know in previous, again, Michael does a series on his YouTube channel called Mob Movie Monday, which is a very fun weekly segment where he, gives his insights on the most popular mob movies. And you mentioned how, you don't really consider The Godfather Part 3 as being a part of the trilogy, or you don't care too much for The Godfather Part 3. You mentioned how Coppola was kind of forced into it by Paramount. But I guess a question that we're going to get asked repeatedly on the stream is, as far as mob movies, and you've probably answered this before, I think you've answered it for me before off camera, but what would you rank as probably the best representations of the mob life, and what would you rank as the least the least accurate representations of the mob life in popular mob movies?
Okay. Well, let me kind of, split it up for you. I think the greatest mob movie ever made was The Godfather 1 and 2. Brilliantly done, brilliantly acted. It wasn't really reality, but it was brilliant in every which way. And it kind of changed the face of the mob, at least in New York where I was, because when that movie came out, it kind of elevated the mafia in everybody's eyes. Guys on the street were walking differently, talking differently. It was amazing. You saw the, kind of a transformation of a lot of guys on the street. So brilliant movies, but fictional. Most realistic mob movies, Goodfellas, you got to put it right up there as number 1. Donnie Brasco also number 2. Those two were brilliantly done and pretty close to reality. The acting was brilliant. And another movie that I've said so many times that people are probably not familiar with is the HBO movie Gotti with Armand Assante and Anthony Quinn. Brilliant movie. If you haven't seen it, Aria, I advise you to watch it. It was very, very accurate.
It's an older one, right?
Yeah, they took a lot of the script was written right off of a lot of the surveillance tapes and recordings. And it was very accurate because I was active at that time and I knew what was going on. But it was brilliantly done. Armand Assante and Anthony Quinn were brilliant. So those are the great ones. And there's a couple more. But I think I have to say one of the worst ones ever made was the Gotti movie with John Travolta. That just didn't work for me. I think it was a movie that should not have been made. Offhand, I can't think of too many more, but,
What about the Travolta Gotti movie was just not hitting it for you?
It just, Travolta didn't work for me as Gotti. I knew Gotti pretty well, and some of the other characters just didn't work for me. And I didn't like anything about it. And, it was the only movie I knew that got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. So
that
That
says
kind of shows
that says what. Yeah. We basically the question. Well, just a very tailbridge. You've given this answer in a BuzzFeed video before, but the Irishman, and you've also broke this down yourself. Irishman. There are stuff you found accurate, but also a few things you found very inaccurate. Can you explain a little bit on Irishman? Because we're getting questions about that.
Again, it was a great movie. Scorsese doesn't make a bad movie, so it was great. The acting was great. Obviously, you had brilliant actors in there, but the story wasn't true. Frank Sheeran did not kill Jimmy Hoffa. He certainly did not kill Joey Gallo. That was my crew. I was active at that time. And I know, without a doubt, that's not accurate. So, that kind of lost it for me because I knew it wasn't authentic. And by the way, the Sheeran, killing of Hoffa has been debunked, by everybody, by the government, by the news and everything else. So, but again, it was a brilliant movie in my view. It was a little bit too long, but it was it was great, So again, Scorsese doesn't make a bad movie, but they shouldn't try to sell it as reality because it wasn't true.
There you go. And, Eleazar, I see in the chat you're mentioning Goodfellas. Michael did bring up Goodfellas already as being one of the more accurate representations of the movie, of the mob life, as far as mob movies are considered. So someone in the chat asks, there's a question from C asks, I know he's known for his mafia movies, but would you agree that My Cousin Vinny is Joe Pesci's best work? And I know you love Joe Pesci.
It's funny. I watched that movie last night.
Really?
Yeah. I put it on my computer and I watch it when I have trouble sleeping, and I'm just not tired yet. So, he is so brilliant in that movie. I got to tell you, Pesci, anything he does, he's brilliant. But that movie, you laugh from the first frame all the way to the end. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it's true. And I remember one of the videos we shot for BuzzFeed when you were analyzing movie scenes, you mentioned how Joe Pesci is the best actor when in playing out the mob life because you said he lived the life in a way. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, he grew up in Brooklyn. He was around guys there, so he knew the character of many of those guys. He knew the character of many of those guys. So, he's just brilliant. He lights up the screen. And, it's funny, in The Irishman, it was a total departure from the type of mob character that he usually portrays. And I knew Russ Bufalino fairly well, and he did a brilliant job in portraying Russ. So anything that he does, he's great in, and he's definitely my favorite guy. He lights up the screen in every scene that he's in. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I love him too. Mothman Barbie in the chat says you are a man of taste. I'm assuming that's referring to your love for My Cousin Vinny. Nicolette asks in the chat, where can we get his book? Well, there are links down below, all in the video description. You can grab any of his books. And actually, Michael was just telling me before we got on stream that he has a new one coming out this summer too. Can we say a little bit? Is there anything you want to say about that one?
Yeah, the book is titled Mafia Democracy. And, unfortunately, I make a very valid comparison with the way we operated on the street and the way our government is operating today. And I think it's going to be eye-opening to people. It's not a gimmicky book, it's reality. I'm going to cite things in that book. It's just about done now, we're just finishing it up. But that people are going to say, wait a minute, this is not how our government is supposed to be, operating. Very Machiavellian, I would say. So I'm excited about the book. It was a couple of years in the making, and I think it's important that it comes out, at this point in time.
Wow. We've been working on it for a couple of years now, so we've been working on it for a while. So that's very exciting. But yes, moving on to, we got a lot of, so again, I know we got a lot of questions coming in. Again, if you have questions for Michael, hit the Discord link, which is pinned in the chat. That's where you'll be submitting the questions because our moderators are going to go feel through your questions because we're getting a lot of them right now. A couple of people did mention your time on Hotboxin with Mike Tyson. Someone's asking, how was your time on there? It was a great interview. You enjoyed your time with Mike? Again, for those that don't know, Michael did an interview with Mike Tyson, which is available on YouTube.
Yeah, I love Mike. He's so real and so genuine now. And, he's done a job transforming his life. As a matter of fact, coincidentally, I'm going to be sitting down with him this coming Monday at Slices in Newport Beach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to do a sit down for my YouTube channel. So that'll be up in a week or so. I'm looking forward to that. We're going to have a different kind of a chat, not all boxing, but, two guys from Brooklyn that fell on hard times and, fortunately been able to transform our lives. So I think it's going to be really interesting. And I'm excited to see him. And he's going to eat some Slices pizza also. So we'll see.
Just like me, baby. Just like me. I got my slices. But no, well, it's interesting because for those of you that you mentioned turning around, about how you turned around those hard times. So again, for those of you that don't know about Michael, after he left the life, he's done great work as a motivational speaker, using his experiences to try to, educate people. So we're excited to explore all of that. Something I want to bring up before we go into other questions is something I found really fascinating. One of the things I find fascinating is whenever I film with Michael, as well as his lovely wife, Camille, one of my favorite things about doing those is Michael just has so many stories, and that's why, his YouTube channel is a bounty of stories. But one of the things that stuck with me was kind of, you mentioned there's one thing I'd love for you to talk about for the audience that may not be familiar with it. And you mentioned it in the BuzzFeed video, but there was one instance where you thought you were going to die, in the sense that you were being walked into a room. Do you remember that story? You were telling, can you tell that story a little bit for the audience, just to give them a little bit of a picture of the life you led?
Yeah, well, one of the horrors of that life, a very unfortunate, situations in that life, is that you make a mistake, serious one. Your best friend walks you into a room and you don't walk out again. And unfortunately, throughout my 20 years in that life, I experienced that, with other people, and because of the position that I was in. And I had that experience one night, myself, where I was walked into a room and, I was meeting with my boss, and there was some word on the street about the business that I was in. And quite honestly, Aria, I can only describe it as this. It was about a 30-yard walk from the car to the basement apartment that I was meeting these people in. And that was either the longest or the shortest walk of my life. I don't know how to describe it, but I honestly felt that when I walked down those stairs and that door opened, that would be the last thing that I saw. And I was nervous, I was scared, there's no hiding that. But somehow I did it. And, people say to me, Michael, why didn't you cut and run? I had somebody walking me behind me, and he said, why didn't you cut and run? And it wasn't a heroic thing that I didn't. It was more robotic, because I was so much a product of that life that I just said, hey, this is it, this is it. And obviously I'm here, so it worked out, and I defended myself very well, and everything was great after that. But it left an impression on me, that I knew I hadn't done the wrong thing, and for me to be put in that position, it was difficult to accept.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a terrifying prospect, and yeah, I think that's what stuck with me. The idea of that you could be the one that's being tasked to put down your best friend, and it actually segues into a question we have here from Hanju. Where did it go? I had it here somewhere. It had an interesting question here. Before I go to, I'm trying to find it right now, but if I can't find it, I guess the question. I can't find the question right now, actually, because it was about. Let me find it. Actually, it's here somewhere. If I can just find it from Hanju, because it's a good one. The question. Oh yes. Okay. The question was. Give me one quick moment. Actually, I thought I found it.
We're asking because I posted it, but there's no link. They'll probably have it up for a while.
Well, I can't find it anymore. It's okay. We're just gonna move on to the next question. But I guess the question is, well, we can switch actually very quickly, because of course some of the audience is here from the BuzzFeed Unsolved Network, which obviously has a passion for true crime and the supernatural. So Nikki asks you, Michael, do you believe in paranormal things like ghosts or aliens?
I don't believe in aliens. To me, at least, I haven't seen any evidence of it. Not to say that they don't exist. I just haven't seen anything to support, their existence at this point. So no, I don't believe it. And I think my faith, kind of resolves that for me also. As far as ghosts are concerned, I do believe in the spirit world. I believe there's life after death. I don't know if, spirits actually make their way here to Earth and become visual to anyone. Although I've heard stories, that people that have had, death experiences, whatever you might call it, and have come back, and it sounds believable to me. It sounds real. I mean, I don't think these people are making it up. So I guess it's possible.
Yeah, in a way, I guess. So you're an alien agnostic. You're waiting for the evidence, but you don't rule it out.
Show me the evidence. I mean, it's obviously not impossible. I mean, we shouldn't be so arrogant to believe that, God only put us here, but, we have no evidence at this point. Maybe the government says they have some and they're hiding it from us. Who knows? But until I see it, I don't believe it.
Love it. So we have a question here from Hanju, who asks, he says, back in your day, the Russians were minor and the Italian mob were the big players. Has that changed? How big is the Russian mafia now?
Well, back in my day, it's true, especially in the New York area, they were just really migrating from Russia and becoming a force there in the New York area. You know, they were a force to be reckoned with. I mean, these guys were very smart. They weren't afraid of, you know, I should say, United States justice system because of what they experienced in Russia. And most of the, you know, the guys that came over, they were very educated, very smart. And they were great partners. I had three of them that were partners of mine in the gasoline business. We made a tremendous amount of money together. They were great partners. And, you know, they've done well as far as criminal activity here in this country. They infiltrated the healthcare market. You know, they've done a lot there. From what I understand, they're still in the gasoline business a little bit. So they are a force to be reckoned with. I wouldn't say that they're stronger than, you know, the mafia is here today, but they're certainly a force.
Yeah, thank you for your insights. This is the question that I missed earlier. We did find it, thanks to Strawberry Possum, one of our moderators, for finding it for me. This is a question from Infinity Hayes. So we're talking about how, you know, you make, you know, it's a bloody life, the mob life, and, you know, people close to you will die. So the question they have is, how did you feel about the death of your, and they assume this, your dear friend, Larry Champagne Carosa?
I felt horrible. I mean, you know, Larry was like a brother to me.
Sorry, can you give backstory for anyone who may not be familiar? Myself included, actually. I'm not familiar with his death.
Did you hear me, Aria?
I did. I was wondering, if just for anyone who may not be familiar with Larry, what exactly happened in those circumstances?
Yeah, he was murdered. You know, he violated, you know, a tradition there that you can't violate. He violated a policy that just you can't do. And as a result of that, his life was taken. And I felt horrible. I mean, Larry was like a brother to me. He was very, very close to me. I baptized one of his children. He baptized one of mine. We were that close. But, you know, unfortunately in that life, you know, if you violate the rules and somebody can't save you, it all depends on the situation. Well, that's one of the horrors of that life. So felt horrible about it. I mean, it happened a long time ago, but, you know, like I said, he was like a brother to me. But unfortunately, you know, there are other people in that life that were friends of mine that, you know, that are gone. And that's one of the horrors of the life, Aria. It really is.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you giving us a, you know, a candid answer on that. And I guess, do we have a quick thing from Tanya Whitley in the YouTube live chat who says, wants to ask if, can you ask him, well, you, Michael, if you will be doing another sit down with his daughters or sons? His last one was fabulous.
Well, thank you very much. And yeah, I got to round them up again. And we are planning to do another one with my daughters. And my sons were a little bit camera shy for some reason, but I'm getting them on also. They're ready to go. But yeah, I mean, we love that. You know, and I got to tell you, Ari, there's a few guys now that the field is getting crowded with guys from, you know, that were part of that life, an associate of that life. You know, I don't know, you know, some of them I don't even know. I never heard of them. A lot of guys are coming on YouTube and telling stories. And, you know, I mean, look, we could tell mob stories for days, but, you know, I like to be a little bit different. I like to give some good insight into things. I like to bring my family into it. And so, yes, you can expect more of that. You know, they make me look good. So, yeah, I'm going to have them.
No, honestly, Michael, I mean, I'm not just saying it because you're here with me. I mean, like I said, I've loved filming with you in the past, but honestly, of all the mobsters on YouTube, yours is the priceless insight. And obviously it shows with, again, if people don't know, Michael has his own YouTube channel. It's popping. Like popping, he's got, you know, like his videos are fantastic and people love them. And so check him out. It's in the video description down below if you want to watch him on a more regular basis. But yeah, lots of love to you, Michael, for what you do and for being so candid about your life. And one of the things you are candid about is kind of what we talked about. What you're known for is kind of, you know, your faith. So, because Leonie asks, does faith play a role in the mob life? If so, how does one reconcile one's criminal endeavors with one's conscious and religious beliefs?
You know, that's a good question. And just about, you know, every mob guy that I know, I mean, we're all Italian and we're all Catholics. And I wasn't really, I mean, I went to Catholic school, you know, right from kindergarten right through high school. But, you know, I can't say I was really a practicing Catholic. And most of the guys are saying, you know, it's funny. On Ash Wednesday, you saw so many mobsters walking around with ashes on their forehead. And yet we lived a criminal lifestyle where every day of our lives, we were involved in criminal activity. So we were violating both God's laws and the laws of man. How do you justify it? You know, I don't know. I mean, it's really crazy. I mean, I guess what you think when you come into that life, you know, you have a very idealistic view of it. And what you say is, look, this is a life of honor. It's a life of respect. We take an oath to honor the life, to honor, our friends, to honor people's wives, daughters, sisters. And we realize that if we cross the line and we break policy, or we make a mistake, or we break the rules, and we can pay for it with our lives. So the fact that we all feel that we're on a level playing field and we all agree to the same thing, I guess we justify it in that way. Of course, it's not justifiable. It's not. But that's how we look at it. That's how I looked at it during my time in the life. But, came to a point when I realized that was just the wrong way to look at things.
Yeah, I know faith plays a big part in your journey and your story, and kind of, part of the reason why you were able to lead the life. And I remember when you were talking about your time in isolation, when you were in solitary confinement, and obviously your faith was a big part of helping you get through that. So, I think if there is a voice to speak on this, yours is probably the one to do so. So as always, thank you. We have another question. We have many questions. I'm gonna run through a few quick this or that questions, because we have a few of those coming in. So very quickly, Stephanie C is asking, dog or cat person?
I'm a dog person.
Dog person. Okay. Rahan Sava asks, cookies or brownies?
Probably cookies. Unfortunately, I have a sweet tooth now. I never had it as a kid, but I have one now. Figure that out.
But you know what? What's fascinating is Michael, and people may not realize is that you're in your 60s. Is that correct? I'm sorry to bring up your age, but
well, no, it's okay. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be 70 this year.
Doesn't he look? People in the comments in the Buzz videos are talking about that. They don't understand how you look so young for your age. But yeah.
Well,
what is it? Do you have a secret?
Remember this, Aria. My dad died at 103. So
he did. And by the way, my condolences. I know he died recently.
Yeah,
but yeah, 103.
A year ago, February last year.
103. Yeah, that's any sort of secret to that? Is it something you're eating, or is it just the genetics?
I don't know. I'll tell you what I think the secret is. Okay, you don't smoke, you don't drink to excess, don't do any drugs, get enough sleep at night. Even though I don't sleep a lot. I get 3, 4, 5 hours. That's my maximum my whole life. Just take care of yourself. Don't gain too much weight, because, when you gain too much weight, it's just not good for your body. It's not good for your health. And the other secret is marry a woman that has been a workout, health freak her entire life, keeps herself in great shape. Same with all my daughters. So they put a lot of pressure on me to stay healthy. And that's the secret. They don't accept anything less. So
that pressure is working, because you're looking great. But I also know your daughter, she does fitness. She's a trainer, right, too? So, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, actually, three of my daughters are all into fitness, and my wife. So they all. So
that'll keep you in shape. We got a couple of different people have asked this question. Sydney Maker and Amphile96 have both asked, and I'm not sure if you're going to answer this one, but do you know who killed Jimmy Hoffa?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Let me answer it this way. And I'm going to tell a little bit of a story, by about 3 minutes. A very dear friend of mine came out of prison about 3 years ago. And he said, Michael, I need to see you. I hadn't seen him in 30 years. So I flew to New York. I went to see him. And he said, Mike, so-and-so, he did a lot of time with him. The guy's doing life in prison. He's an Irish guy, I'll tell you that much. And yes, I knew him before he went to prison. I knew him in New York. And I believe until this day that he was one of the shooters. Now, what this fella told me, he said, look, so-and-so said to me, Michael, if I'm going to reveal this to you, I'm going to put all of it on tape. I'm going to tell you everything that happened around the Hoffa killing. And he put it all on tape and gave it to me. I have the tapes. But, and he said, if you ever sell the story, just take care of me. I'm never coming home, but I have a wife and I have children. Just take care of them. And I said, okay, I would do that. But here's the thing. I believe they'll never find his body. I was told where the body is. And because of where it is, nobody's ever going to find it. And if you don't find a body, it's just another story. It's somebody else coming up with a story. So why do all of that? I do know who ordered the hit. It did come out in New York. And I do believe that this guy was one of the shooters, and he is still alive. And that much I can tell you. But again, so many people have claimed to know what happened with Hoffa. All the stories have been debunked. And if I come out and start to, talk about this, they're going to, well, where's the body? Well, I can't tell you exactly where it is. I can give you an idea, but they'll never find it. So what's the sense?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing what you could. And it is a scary notion to think that that wherever his body is, it's at a place where it makes it very hard to get much more information out of it. But I guess another question from Crystal is the police as powerless in real life regarding the mob as they are depicted in movies?
I say it again. Is the police
Or I guess was the police as powerless in real life regarding the mob as they were depicted in movies?
as powerful?
Powerless in real life.
Powerless. Well, listen, the federal government, the FBI certainly wasn't powerless, obviously. Local police, we had more, control over them, I should say. You got to remember this. In New York, we have 5 families. Among those 5 families at that time, we had 750 approximately made guys that actually took the oath. We had a lot of associates, hundreds of associates. And as a result, some of us had cousins, neighbors that were in a police department. And so we had relationships there, and we were able to, to use those relationships to benefit us. I'll tell you, there was one police precinct in Brooklyn where anytime I wanted at 2:00 in the morning, I can go into that precinct and look at all the files that I needed to look at if there was, an issue that I was concerned about. So we had those kind of relationships. And the police didn't bother us as much, the local police. It was really the FBI that was, it was a little bit more difficult to get to them. Although there were some that we did get to, obviously, and there's been stories about that, true stories. Yeah, I mean, that's the situation.
Wow. Well, we have a question from Orfu, and I love that. This is a question I enjoyed too, because it deals with love. And the question is simply, it seems as though you chose love over your mob life, which we know is what happened. When did you know you were in love with her, the lovely Camille? And what kind of connection drove you to make a dangerous decision like that?
Well, pretty quickly, I mean, she was just different, and there was something about her that I was immediately attracted to. And, I was 31 years old. I met her. I've been around a while, so I knew, it was time. And she was it, and she captured me in every which way possible. And the fact that, she was a young Christian woman and her mother was very devout in her faith, they really had an impact on me. And, long story short, because of my father's involvement in that life, my family was destroyed. My mother spent 33 years without a husband because my dad got a 50-year prison sentence. At the end of their lives, their relationship was ugly because my mom blamed my dad for everything that went wrong in their life. I had a sister that died of an overdose of drugs. I had a brother that was a drug addict for over 25 years, developed the HIV virus as a result. I had a younger sister that died at a young age of cancer. My family was destroyed, and I attribute all of that to my father's being in that life. And every family that I know has a similar story. I mean, it's not conducive to a good family life. And what I said to myself is, I fell in love with this girl. What am I going to do? Marry her? I'm a high profile figure. I've already been to trial 4 times. I got a big bullseye on my back. What am I going to do? Marry her and then go away for the rest of my life or get killed? So I have to make a choice. If I'm going to be with her, I can't be part of that life. And that's what it came down to. And she became more important to me than the oath that I took or the allegiance to my dad.
Wow. Yeah, no, I love it. And I obviously look at the two of you now. You have beautiful kids, and clearly, I'm glad that life is going well for all of you. And again, I for people that don't know, I have met Michael's lovely wife, and they're both so wonderful. And they were again, they've always been so fun to work with on set. But anyways, enough about my personal experience with Michael. We're here for the questions you guys have for the man himself. I guess this is a question from C. C asks, are any of the politicians who are on your payroll still in office?
Not really. I mean, one of them, I'll only say this, that was, very close to us in Las Vegas, retired probably, and he was a powerful guy, about 8 years ago. But no, not from my era. And look, when you say on the payroll, it wasn't so much on the payroll, but we had close relationships with them. We got involved in their fundraisers. We supported them when they needed votes, to get into office. We made sure that we had, the unions that supported them. You have union support. It's tremendous because you have large memberships. And as a result, we got favors from them. But, I would have to say, that's a different era for me now. And I don't think any of them are still alive that I worked with.
I imagine that would be the case because obviously it was decades ago that you were active in the mob life.
Yes.
This next question, and again, thank you everyone for all your great questions. Thank you, Michael, for your time. Again, we have a lot of questions flying in, so if you do want your question picked, you got to go submit. The Discord link is there. join the Discord, submit the questions. When I'm looking away right here, I'm looking actually at the Discord right now because Strawberry Possum and our great moderators are helping sort through all the questions. But anyways, we have a question here from I'm a Rebel Dottie, who asks, what's the mob like today and how has it changed thanks to internet and technology? Which is interesting because we did a video together about the dark web and we kind of touched upon how technology is evolving crime today. So yeah, any thoughts on how technology and the internet has changed crime and the mob life?
Well, I can only tell you this. Obviously, I've been out of the life, but I still have my ear to the wall a little bit, so to speak. And, I hear some things that are going on. You got to understand, guys in that life are very resourceful. And, they're always looking for different ways to make money. And, they'll cross the line. They'll go illegal when they have to and when they can. No problem there. So obviously, the internet has become a major resource for a lot of different reasons. And there's no doubt, that the mob is taking advantage of that. And how do we do that? It's not necessarily a guy from the street that has that education, okay? But guys always came to us. There's a myth out there that, mob guys would sit around in their social clubs and they would think of the next business that they're going to defraud or they're going to, try to infiltrate. Didn't happen that way most of the time. Most of the time it was somebody from inside that company, somebody from Wall Street, somebody from here that would come to us with a scheme to defraud their company, and they would want our help to do so. And that's exactly what's happening in the tech business now. People are coming to them and saying, hey, I have a scheme. I know how I can do this or that. We need your support. We need your help. Maybe we need some finances to get it going. And the guys get involved and they take it to another level. And that's how it happens. So it doesn't matter what the industry is. Guys on the street will get involved and they'll make the best of it for themselves.
I remember one thing that you mentioned when so basically for those unaware, Michael and I did a video where we went on the dark web together. And I remember Michael being particularly shocked by kind of some of the things that were for sale there, including like drugs, how readily available they were, or like hacked, nude photos of like leaked photos and stuff like that, very, terrible stuff. But that brought up an interesting conversation that day too, where you're talking about what the lines were for the activities you and your men would be allowed to get into. You mentioned that drugs were a no-no. What were those lines? Like sex trafficking, you also mentioned was a no-no. Can you elaborate on kind of like where those lines were for the activities that, mobsters like you could get into?
At least in my day, and I get a lot of, blowback from this because what I tell people is the truth. When we got involved in that life, we were told straight out, if we get involved with drugs, we die. Hands off. The Colombo family couldn't do it. Now, some guys doing it on the sneak, they weren't like the Colombian drug lords or the Mexican drug lords making all that kind of money. They wouldn't have lasted in that life. Were they doing it a little bit here and there, maybe, undercover, so people didn't, find out about it? Of course, it just happens that way. But drugs for us were hands off. And, child pornography, things like that, absolutely not, hands off. Human trafficking, hands off, anything like that. We just didn't get involved in that. We couldn't get involved in that. So I can't, I heard some things today that, and when I say today, recently in the last couple of years, that maybe guys were, some way involved in human trafficking. I hope that's not the case. I would be surprised. I'd be shocked. But those are the things that we just didn't get involved in.
And I mean, and for those that did break rank and got involved in those kind of things, like what was the punishment kind of like at the scale of the crime committed, or was it always like punishable by death?
A lot of times it depends on who was involved, and, how serious the violation could have been. And, there's a lot of treachery in that life. So sometimes people die for the wrong reasons. I had a very dear friend of mine. I told this story once on YouTube. That I knew since I was a kid because he was around, was one of my dad's guys. And then when I got into the life, my dad was away, he was under me. He was a soldier in the family. And he got involved in a drug deal with the boss's son. And he was scared. He said to me, Michael, they're going to kill me. They're not going to put the weight on the boss's son. They're going to put all the weight on me and I'm going to get killed. And I told him, look, don't worry about it. You've been around a long time. You've been a loyal soldier. You got a great history with us. I'm going to smooth it over. I was his captain at the time. I said, I'm going to smooth it over for you. And I'll tell you what he did. He was so scared. He said, they're not going to walk me into a room and I'm not going to walk out. It's just, I'm not going to go out that way. That he went to a telephone booth late at night, called his wife, said, I love you, honey. I'll always loved you. And 2 seconds later, he blew his brains out. He killed himself because he didn't want to walk into that room and have it done to him. So I mean, that's how serious it could have been. I don't know. I think I could have saved his life because he had stature in that life. But, he was worried because he said, the boss's son, they're not going to put the weight on him. They're going to put the weight on me. And so, it's terrible. I mean, some of the things that went on were terrible.
Yeah. Just a few shout outs from the people in the chat. They really appreciate you. Stephanie is saying, thank you so much for asking these questions. Rebel Dottie says, thank you for the information. Michael, very interesting and informative. I guess just to lighten it up, switching the questions a little bit, a quick question from Sky High 74 who asks, did you have any mobsters or mobster friends who had cool party tricks like magic, voice impressions, etc.?
Actually, I did. I'm just his name is Andrew. He was one of the greatest, guy at doing card tricks that I've ever seen. And he used to, amuse us with that, quite a bit. I mean, yeah, mob guys, we have a lot of fun at times too. We weren't, stuffy all the time, stuck up like that. So yeah, he was great. I mean, I was, dazzled at some of the card tricks. We had a lot of guys like that, guys that, just fun guys, when we went out and, partied together, we had a lot of fun.
And to that point where you're saying you mob guys are looking for are fun guys, can be fun guys too. That's very true because again, I remember I mentioned this at the start of this, but I remember before I met Michael for the first time, I was very nervous, very intimidated. But Michael, like I said, very kind, gracious man, made it very easy to chat with him and his wife. And one of the things we talked about, Michael, is that we both share a very mutual love for one specific musical. Do you remember that musical?
I do. Was it The Sound of Music? That one?
It is The Sound of Music, Michael. It came up in one of our shoots that Michael and I both love The Sound of Music. And we talked about it in the video for BuzzFeed too, about how, you just grew up enjoying musicals. And I think it's lovely, you have these preconceived notions of what a mobster should be, with air quotes there. But, like you, at the end of the day, you're a human, and there are things you enjoy. And so I guess I have a question for you. Do you have a favorite song from The Sound of Music?
Oh gosh, they were all so good, but you know what? This song really got to me. I mean, that song Idlewise.
Oh my God, yeah.
For some reason, I don't know. I got sentimental when I heard that song. Not towards anything, obviously, but I love the whole soundtrack. It was, the funny thing, Aria, when I was a kid, my mother made me take my brothers and sisters to see that movie. I was older than them, and I didn't want to go. I was arguing with her. I don't want to see a silly movie like that. She said, "You got to take them." My mother was strong. And it was, I would have wanted to see it 10 times. I loved it so much, but it was a great movie. Great.
Yeah, you didn't want to go, but then when you were there, you were enthralled. Hey, it's a great movie. And also rest in peace to Christopher Plummer. Did you hear he passed away, sadly?
Yeah, just recently, right? Yeah.
Yeah, very, yeah. But, on that question, Nikki had a question on that vein. What are some of your guilty pleasure movies or TV shows? I don't know if you watch much TV. Any other guilty pleasure movies, musicals?
Well, I got to say this, lately, the quality of TV series has been so amazing. I fell in love with Breaking Bad. I mean, that was unbelievable. Game of Thrones, unbelievable. Ozark, unbelievable. Bloodline, I can go on and on and on. There's been
all the crime ones.
Yeah, the writing is so terrific. The acting is great. And I really get into it. Me and my wife, we enjoy them very, very much. So, and there's so much content out there now, I'm excited about, our TV show that's in development.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Michael's got a show.
Yeah, we got a great production company, one of the top independents in the business. We have a great writer director on it, and the material that they've produced so far has been great. And I think we're going to be making an announcement in the next couple of months, and it'll get into production.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear more about that. Jujo asks, very quickly on the topic of musicals, very big demand. What about Mamma Mia? Have you watched Mamma Mia? Are you a fan of Mamma Mia?
It's funny. We were just talking about my wife and kids last night. We went to Vegas to see that show a couple of years back.
Oh, the live show.
Yeah, and we walked out. I mean, we didn't like it. Yeah, it was kind of boring. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were expecting.
I don't know. I have to disagree with you there, Michael.
Walked out, or when we walked out when it was over, we were saying, "What did we just watch?" Even the kids didn't like it. So.
We all wanted.
Yeah.
What did Camille just say?
She said we all wanted to leave, but we waited. We were courteous. We waited.
You waited till intermission. Yeah. So you haven't even seen the movie.
No, I haven't seen the movie because
I guess you wouldn't want to.
Yeah, because of the play, I didn't want to see the movie, so I've never watched it. But I heard it was better. My wife seen it; she said it was great.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, that's fine. But Sound of Music is still a great choice. I think most people would actually err to the side of Sound of Music if they had to choose. Okay, Jujo asks, did mobsters use cryptology at all? You know, like secret coded messages. So did you guys have any sort of secret way of communicating, I guess?
Well, yeah, we did. I mean, we would set it up in advance where we would, talk about something else, and it was kind of code words for what we were really doing. Yeah, we did that a lot. We had to. I don't know how effective it was because the government figured it out at some point. But yeah, we always were very, very cryptic. We were always afraid of telephones, afraid of surveillance equipment, afraid of informants. So we had to be careful.
Yeah. Sim from Canada just said wants to let you know he's a huge fan and he loves that you took the time to play his favorite game, which was Mafia 2. Do you remember playing Mafia 2 for BuzzFeed, that video game?
Yeah, well, I didn't go through the whole game.
You played like parts of it.
Yeah, we did through parts of it, and it was fun. It was amusing.
That's a very fun video. If you haven't seen that one, it's on BuzzFeed Multiplayer, which is our gaming channel. And in that one, Michael plays through a few scenes of Mafia, and he gives his critiques of the game. And it's always fascinating.
Yeah, my son Michael Jr. is a whiz at these games, and he was fascinated. He was happy that I got involved in it. So he
yeah. Kai Yang in the YouTube live chat just asked very quickly, who's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero? I like Iron Man.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, hey. I think he's terrific in that role. As a matter of fact, they're thinking about him playing me in the TV series.
Oh, yeah, you heard it here first, everyone. Potentially, yeah. Imagine Robert Downey Jr. playing this man. That would be fantastic casting. Yes, the Havoc Show and Sakya both asked the same question, which is, do you have any talents? Do you play any instruments?
I don't play any instruments. No, I have. I am. I guess I'm not talented. I don't know. No, but I'm a sports guy. I like to play. I like to golf. I play a lot of racquetball when I'm in shape.
You're a good singer.
My wife said I'm a good singer. So
that's
I could carry a tune. Let's put it that way. And I enjoy singing in the shower and in my car. So.
That's fantastic.
And if I have a few drinks, I'll sing a little bit more for the crowd.
What's your go-to song for the crowd when you've had a few drinks?
I'm a Sinatra guy. I'm a Frankie Valli guy. You put them on, and I get into it right away. Old school that way.
I got to ask you this, Michael. When the day comes, that I get married, would you and Cammie would come if I invited you both?
Absolutely.
You're not just saying that. I would love to have you both there.
It would be my pleasure. It would be an honor and a privilege to come. You're one of my favorite guys. I do a lot of and I really mean that, Aria. I do a lot of interviews, and I do this, quite a bit. And you're just a classy young man, and I enjoy it very much. And you know what you're doing. You get through it. You know what you're doing. So I enjoy that.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate how gracious you've been to speak with me in the past, to work with me, and to be here again with me. And the feeling's mutual. I've said it several times on the stream. What a pleasure it's been to get to know you and work with you. And hopefully, when the pandemic ends, we'll be able to do a lot more in person together again. But until then, I'm glad we get to reconnect here. We'll just keep on going. We're running towards the end of this, but very very quickly, someone had a question. This is a very specific question. And so this is from Hanju. Did you ever have direct dealings with Don King? If so, is he really as bad as Mike Tyson says he is? And could you elaborate on who Don King is for anyone who may not know?
Yeah, Don King was the big sports promoter way back when, and he, promoted so many fights, on every level, heavyweight down to middleweight, lightweight, very well known. And the answer is yes, I did have dealings with Don King. As a matter of fact, there's an article in Sports Illustrated for this young man called Shadowboxing. I think it was back in the 80s or the 90s that it was written. It was a front page article. It was all about an undercover investigation that I was the principal target of. It was myself and Don King. And basically there was an undercover FBI agent and an informant that was around Muhammad Ali that they pulled out of prison to work this undercover operation called Shadowboxing. And they were with me for about 8 or 9 months. They wanted to infiltrate or get involved with professional boxing and see how organized crime had control over professional boxing. And myself and Don King were the targets. And Al Sharpton was involved in that too, the Reverend Al, I would say. He became an informant as a result of this investigation. But anyway, Don King, he was a shady guy. I mean, I got along with him. I don't like to talk bad about people, because look where I came from at one time. But, we got along. Obviously, there's a lot of people like Mike, who've had bad dealings with Don. I can't say that I had. We had good dealings. He was involved with some guys out of Cleveland, that basically he was around. He did some time for manslaughter, so he was a street guy. But yeah, I mean, look, I've heard a lot of people not happy with the way they were dealt with Don. But that's a fight business, it's a rough business.
Absolutely. So we have one, a grim one, as our moderator Strawberry Possum says. But Rascalized asks, "Hello." Well, very quickly, someone just wants to say that again. Another shout out to someone appreciates how candid you've been and how helpful, how open you've been. But Rascalized asks, "Hello, Sir Michael. A question about prison. Do mob guys actually ever get sexually assaulted in the joint? This is in reference to a show from HBO called Oz, where a mob boss's son gets sexually assaulted by other gangs, namely the Homeboys and the Aryans."
Well, let me tell you this. I don't know of any instance where somebody, when you say assaulted, I can tell you this. John Gotti got slapped around in prison, as you may know. And even my boss, Carmine Persico, had a run-in in prison. And I will tell you this. It really all depends. You got to understand that when you're in a penitentiary where guys are doing life in prison and they have nothing to be concerned with, you got to be respectful in there, or they don't care who you are. My dad taught me this, when I was young. He said, "Michael, when you go to prison, or if you go to prison," he knew I would probably go one day. He said, "I want you to remember three things that'll help you throughout your time in there." He said, "Number one, know how to say please. Number two, know how to say thank you. And number three, know how to say excuse me. You bump into somebody, excuse me, please, thank you." He said, "Be respectful, because so many guys in there that never got respect on the street want all the respect in there. And when they're doing heavy time, they don't care who you are, basically. So you got to mind yourself in there, depending upon the level of prison that you're in. When you're in a camp, or you're in a medium or low security, you don't worry as much. But when you're in a high level security prison, they don't care who you are. Like I said, Gotti got beat up. My boss got slapped. And I know some other instances. So it does happen, and it all depends on how you conduct yourself in there. I never had a problem. I followed my dad's advice, and I never had a problem with anybody in there. So, it was true.
Yeah, and of course, he also spent a lot of time in solitary confinement, which was an entirely different struggle, which we can get into. But very quickly, Tanya Whitley asks if you're comfortable talking about this. She just says, "Could you ask how your daughter is doing now after her battle with cancer?" She says, "I keep her in my thoughts and prayers every night."
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, my daughter had her thyroid removed. It was cancerous. And her recent scans have shown to be very good. She's going back to the doctor on Friday, and hopefully she'll get a clean bill of health. She was a little bit concerned last week with what she had heard, but I think it's going to be okay. So we've had so many people praying and so many well wishes. My daughter's a fighter, she really is. And I think she's going to be okay. But, I just want to say a thank you to so many people have been so kind and gracious with their prayers and their well wishes. And, the Franzese family really appreciates it. So thank you all very much. And thanks for that question. Yeah, she's going to be okay. My wife just corrected me. She will be okay.
She will be.
Her mom, they will that. She will be okay.
Yeah. And I will, and I keep her in my thoughts. And please, everyone in the chat, keep her in your thoughts and prayers too. Well, this is a question. There's a kind of a two-part one. This is from Kenzai, who asks, this is his wording of it, but he's asking if you have any mental illnesses. I think maybe he's talking about maybe PTSD. What is your opinion on people blaming, violent acts and crimes on mental illnesses?
Well, I mean, if it's a genuine mental illness, then look, I believe in mental illness. There's no question about that. And I believe that sometimes, people act irrationally because of that. You got to be careful when people blame everything on, I wasn't brought up good as a child and had a rough childhood and, excuses. But, I don't downplay the fact that mental illness is a real problem. I mean, I see it look, I don't know if you know this, the homeless situation on the streets of LA and in San Francisco, it's out of control. And a lot of those people are definitely, a product of mental illness. There's no doubt about it. So it's a real problem. Not sure how to deal with it, but it definitely does exist, and it certainly can cause irrational behavior.
and by extension, not necessarily extension, but I guess in that same world of mental health, the mob life, people that have left the life, is that something that plagues people? Like not necessarily mental illness, but specifically like depression, or PTSD, trauma from the life for people that have survived.
There's no question. Look, my wife will tell you there's times at night when, I'm fighting in my sleep and, you think back of things because, you do witness things in that life that are pretty extreme, so to speak. So, and you take that with you. It doesn't just go away. I'll give you, a quick story. I had one friend of mine that was a made guy in that life like me. I drove him home in Brooklyn one day and I dropped him off at his house and I said goodbye and he said, Michael, don't leave yet, just wait. I said, okay. So he goes up to the door and he opens the door and I'm watching him. He closes the door and he comes back to the car. And I said, what happened? He said, well, nobody's home. I said, well, that's your house. Does somebody have to be home, And the story goes here, him and his brother, who was also a made guy, their father had violated a very serious law in that life. And the two sons murdered him. Oh. And ever since that happened, that was like 30 years prior to this incident. And ever since that happened, this fellow could never be in his house alone. He says, when I'm in my house alone, I'm haunted by my father's ghost. And if somebody's not home, I won't enter my own house. So you take that with you, things like that don't leave that easily. And, there's things in my life, that I've seen that, until today, they pop into my mind and they're troublesome.
Wow. Yeah. That's a dark story.
Yeah, sorry, that's an extreme story, but
no.
The way it is.
How candid you are about that. There's a question here. The Lindo asks, what is the most horrible thing that you refused to do for the mob? Was there anything that?
I was never given an order that, that I refused. I'll be honest with you. There was orders that I contested and I argued about, respectfully, the way I have to argue about it. And it was troublesome to do it, but I did. And it was troublesome after that. So, but you got to understand something. You can only argue when your boss gives you an order. You can only argue up to a point. And if that decision is made and you're given that order, if you don't carry it out, well, then you're going to suffer the consequences. And you understand that going in. So, unfortunately, that's the way it goes. So, and, that doesn't make it an excuse. I say this all the time. Look, Aria, I could have said no and suffered the consequences or walked away, but I didn't. I was a product of the life at that time. And I said, hey, this is the oath that I took and this is what I have to do, right or wrong, I got to do it. And, those things haunt you later on, when you think back and you say, gosh, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for doing the wrong thing. I could have made a different decision. If I had to suffer consequences on my own, I should have. And that, as a person of faith, that troubles me now a little bit. Unfortunately, as a Christian, we believe that if we really confess our sins and sorry for them, that we're forgiven. So you have to live with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And obviously, as we touched upon, you're doing, making the most of your experiences and trying to use those to educate others. I'm going to combine two questions here. This is from Echo Mua, as well as one from Charlie VCU 1988, because they're kind of asking about other organized groups. So they combine the questions. Did you ever work alongside the Yakuza or Triads, or do you have any connections with them, or did you ever any dealings or connections with the Medellin cartel?
No, in Medellin cartel, I met a lot of them in prison. We never did any business, but I got to know a couple of the guys pretty well, and they were good guys. I got to say that. They're a whole different breed, a whole different situation than we are. Their primary business was drugs, and that was it. They were drug dealers and huge in that regard. So it's a different way of life than we experience. We got involved in everything. I mean, we infiltrated the White House, and we got involved with the numbers business on the street and everything in the middle. So we were different in that regard. And as far as, the Asian groups, because I hung out in Little Italy and times we used to go to Chinatown, we would meet some of those guys. I can't say I ever did really business with them. They're a pretty violent bunch. I could tell you that. I saw some things in prison with some of them. But I never personally did business with any of them. And none of the guys that I knew in that life really were dealing with any of them. So Russians, yes. The Irish guys, yes. The Westies were a powerful Irish group. back in New York, we dealt with them, but I don't remember dealing with any of the Asian groups.
When you mentioned that they were a violent bunch, are you saying particularly so compared to other organized groups like your own? Like,
Yeah, I mean, from my experience, yeah, I mean,
oh wow,
they didn't
I
have
didn't
a
know
big
that.
value on human life. Again, that's my personal observation. I could be wrong, just what I experienced, and the few people that I did meet, both on the street and in prison.
Well, well, to switch switch gears a little bit, Strawberry Possum asks, if you had the chance to make the perfect meal without any restrictions, like no budget or anyone making it, or like anyone specific person making it, what would that meal be, and who would you share it with?
Oh gosh. Well, look, I'm Italian. My number one food is always, Italian food, pasta. I love everything Italian. So it would be an Italian meal, and it'd be a combination of pasta and whatever else we cook up. And who would I would share with it? We share with everybody. We want everybody to come in and eat all the time. Our house is always open. Come on in. We're going to cook for you when you get here. We're going to have a banquet. It's funny. The night that I got made, the night that I took the oath. After we all took the oath, we went to the next room and we all had a banquet. It's what we do all the time. So, my family, we're foodies. We love to eat and we love all kinds of foods, but for me, Italian is number one.
Absolutely. What's your favorite way of eating pasta? What's your favorite type of pasta? Sauce, I guess.
Mine
is vongole.
I don't like heavy sauces. I like a light sauce, and like a pomodoro sauce. I love prosciutto in the sauce. I don't know if you ever done that.
I've actually never done that. They don't do that very often, do they, in Italian restaurants here?
No, they don't do it as much. Back east, yes. Not as much out here, but my wife makes that for me. I love that. And I like a light sauce, and, but look, I mean, I love lasagna. I love ravioli. I love a meat sauce too, but mostly my preference would be for a lighter pomodoro sauce. A filete pomodoro, they call it.
Mm. And an important one as we start to wind down a little bit, on this live stream, Unison asks, what was the most important lesson you learned in the mob, and what is the most important lesson you learned in prison?
In the mob, the most important lesson I learned was to be a good listener. And, before I open my mouth to speak, make sure I know what I'm going to say. Don't run off the mouth. Don't see things out of turn. I saw people suffer greatly because of that. Keep your complaints to yourself. Don't talk bad about people. Don't complain about people. That life is like a wheel. You could be the guy that's on the bottom one day could be your boss the next day. So you got to be careful not to slight anybody. Hold your own, but do it in a respectful way. And again, my dad taught me that. He was my consigliere. He was my advisor. And I used to listen to my dad because he was wise with respect to that life. He knew it well. And it served me well. So, that was important. In prison, the same thing. Just be respectful to everybody. Try to do your own time, not get involved in everybody's business. Do your time and get out the door. That's what it was all about. And again, as a result, I didn't have too many problems. Look, I did 8 years, almost 3 of that in solitary. So the 5 years that I was on the yard, I didn't have a problem with anybody, and it served me well in there. And guys that, run off the mouth and trying to do things crazy, you can't fight the system when you're in there. They're going to win every single time. So why bother? It doesn't make sense. You're only hurting yourself.
Absolutely. And so I guess by that same token, and again, everyone, since we're winding down now, if you want to get your final questions in for Michael, be sure to join the Discord, submit your questions. The moderators are helping filter through the last few questions. Again, it's pinned in the chat somewhere. So join us there. But yes, wrapping this up, let's go. Oh, very quickly, Secretary Cornfish, based on that same token, do you have any advice on life? And I know it's a very broad question, Michael, so feel free to take that however you'd like.
Advice on life? It's something that I tell our young people. As I visit a lot of juvenile halls. I speak to a lot of young people. I work with a lot of gangbangers. Sheriff departments bring me in, to try to educate these kids. And I'm always received pretty well because people understand the lifestyle that I led and the fact that I was able to get out of that life. And I tell them this. I said, in life, remember this. You are who you hang out with. You have to surround yourself with the right people in life, not people that are going to take you down the wrong path or going to influence you in the wrong way. Surround yourself with the right people. It's the reason that I've been able to make it, because I surrounded myself with people that care about me, that are doing the right thing, that keep me on track. Because, Aria, I always say this, you can take the boy out of Brooklyn, but you can't take Brooklyn out of the boy. I still have instincts, from the time that I was on the street. And, but I fight those instincts because I don't want to hurt the people that are around me, that depend on me and that care about me. And obviously, as you get older, you're able to, counteract those instincts that you have more. So, do the right thing in life. It doesn't pay to do the wrong thing. I also say this: life is tough enough when everything is good. Look, everything was good, 13 months ago, and then all of a sudden we get hit with a pandemic and the life goes upside down. And you got to deal with that. You got to navigate through it. When you're doing the wrong thing and you're putting extra baggage on your shoulders to carry around because you're doing the wrong thing, life becomes extremely difficult. And I've had so many older gentlemen, in their 50s, 60s, 70s that look back and say, Michael, I don't know where my life went. They spent X amount of times in prison, their families were broken up, and they've had more trouble because they did the wrong thing in their life, and you suffer these consequences. So, be careful who you hang out with, do the right thing, and try to stay on the right path.
Fantastic advice, sir. And my question from Melissa Rose in the YouTube chat basically says, Mr. Franzese, I appreciate this so much. People can learn so much from the good and the bad. Who was your biggest life influence?
Well, my dad had a tremendous influence on me. He did try to teach me the right thing, to do the right things, no doubt. My wife has had a tremendous influence on me by keeping me straight. And honestly, as a person of faith, Jesus of Nazareth, and I won't say Jesus Christ, our Savior, but Jesus of Nazareth, watching him and reading about him as a man was very inspiring. He was, to me, a true man's man in every way that he acted. And I think if you try to emulate somebody like that, try to emulate Jesus, you'll never be him, of course, but what would Jesus do? When you think of the right thing to do in life, it's very inspiring. And I've been a student of the Bible, and it's done nothing but keep me straight as best as it could. I mean, I go off every once in a while, but when I go off, I know I'm going off, and I shouldn't be going off. So that's it for me.
Fantastic. The Havoc Show asks, just to throw some quick ones at you, the Havoc Show asks, what's your go-to drink? You mentioned earlier you drink in moderation. When you do have a drink, what's your go-to?
Wine. We love wine. We're frequent visitors to Napa Valley, country. Yeah. That's our go-to. I don't really drink anything else. Once in a while, I have a light beer. I don't like any heavy beer. It's got to be a light beer once in a while. But, we have that glass of wine just about every day.
Yeah, I remember seeing, you spoke about this earlier, actually talking about how, your family, you love to have big meals and everything like that. I think I remember seeing a picture on your Instagram. I think it was Christmas or was it a birthday? There was some sort of feast you guys. It might have been Christmas. Was there a picture that was posted on Instagram?
I think so, yeah, probably.
It looked delicious. It was you surrounded by your family. Oh, it looked delightful.
Nothing.
On the note of your food, so again, for people that are just tuning in as well, Michael, he's co-owner of a pizza franchise called Slices USA. I've got some right here. Tried it. It was fantastic. Secretary Cornfresh did ask if you're willing to disclose regarding your pizza franchise, Slices, do you have a pizza secret formula? I'm assuming he's not going to disclose it if they do.
Oh, we definitely have a secret formula, but what's that cliche? If I tell you about it, I'll have to kill you afterwards. My partner will kill me because he spent, almost 2 years developing it. We have a secret formula. Look, the flour says Slices Flour on it because it's our formula. Every product that you see in our store, from the tomatoes to the cheese to everything, has got Slices name on it because it's something that we've developed over the years. And, we're very proud of it, and people love it. I really mean that. I'll tell you a quick story. Forbes magazine wrote a huge story about me and my partner with Slices a couple of months back. And he wrote the story and he sent it to me. Now, he's in New York, the writer. And in the article, he said, hey, it's great pizza. You're going to love it. And I called him up and I said, Richard, why are you saying this is great pizza? You haven't tasted it. So he said, well, Michael, I'm writing a story. You said it's good, so I assume it. I said, well, it's my pizza. Of course I'm going to say it's good. I said, how could you write something? It's a false story. So I said, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to send it across country from San Francisco to you. You're going to taste the pizza, and then I want you to tell the truth. So he said,
I like it. A man of integrity.
Absolutely. So we sent it to him. We freeze wrapped it, whatever you call. And we sent it to him. He put it in the oven. And I said, all right, now tell the truth. He said, Michael, it was one of the best pizzas I ever ate in my life. And then he raved about it in the article. So You know, we're confident that people are going to love it. Everybody that's had it so far has loved it, and we're very proud of it and very happy. I mean, we just can't wait till, you know, we have a bunch of stores all over the country and all over the world.
Again, everyone, the links are down below in the video description if you want to check out Michael's YouTube, his social media, as well as Slices USA. Quick question from Gamed Up. This is a bit of a specific one, but what is your personal stance on labor unions?
Well, listen, you know, labor unions aren't today what they were back in my day. You know, there was a time when labor unions were necessary, you know, when they first started, because obviously we know that employers didn't treat labor very well back then, and the unions got together and they changed all of that. But, you know, I want to tell you this, you know, this is something that always bugs me. You know, the biggest union in the country right now is the government unions. Government
I didn't know that.
Now, remember this. What is an employee supposed to, what does a union protect you from? They protect you from your employer. So why does a government employee need to be protected from the government, which is his employer? Doesn't make sense. You know,
That's a very fair question. Very fair question.
A union for the government. But I don't think unions are as necessary today as they were, you know, way back when. I think people are treated differently now from their employers, and it's a whole different ball game. But listen, you know, the unions are what they are. I was one that, you know, used the unions very effectively during my time, you know, in business. But they're not as necessary today as they were back then.
Well, speaking of the government, again, Michael has a book coming out later this summer about, you know, drawing parallels between the life and the government as it stands right now. But a question from Kai Yang that was earlier in the chat was basically, how much percentage of the government did the mafia had influence on back in your prime? And if you know, is there any influence right now?
Well, you can't say there's a percentage of it. You know, look, you know, in the city of Chicago, you know, the government, the state and local governments were mobbed up in a big way. We had a lot of influence in Chicago. Same in New York. I mean, look, when I was in the gasoline business, I needed to get wholesale licenses so that I could collect the tax, you know, on every gallon of gasoline. I had 18 licenses, and I got them because I had connections in government, you know, political connections, I should say, that helped me to get the licenses. You know, so we had influence in that regard. And look, you know, we had influence into the White House. You know, we controlled in New York, you know, the Democratic leader in New York, who was a very powerful figure and had strong influence in Washington also. So, you know, you're able to make these you know, alliances, I would say. I don't believe it's happening as much now. I always say this, the golden years of the mob, certainly in New York and throughout the country, were from the 50s right through the mid 80s when, you know, the racketeering laws came in and everything went bust for us. But during that time, we had a lot of control. You know, when you control the unions in this country, you control the country. Remember, we had the Teamsters Union. You have 2.5 million truck drivers. You call a strike, the country shuts down. Nothing gets moved. We control the docks, the unions on the docks. We call a strike on the docks, everything's closed down. Nothing comes into the country, nothing goes out of the country. Plus, we had huge pension funds. We had huge memberships. You get a politician, you say, hey, you need money? You know, we got several $100 million in the bank. We can help you. You want to build a hotel? You want to do something like we built Vegas? We got the money to help you. And we'll get our membership behind you. You want to get into office? You need votes. We'll throw our union votes behind you. That's powerful. And it was during that time that we were able to wield that kind of power. It's not the same now. It really isn't. You know, from the mid 80s on, things changed. But we had a lot of control and a lot of power at one point in time. But is it still going on? Yeah, but just not like it did during that time.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Mommy Dawn 1, by the way, for the super chat. Mommy Dawn 1 asked a question. She paid a little bit to ask a bigger question. Her question was, who killed Hoffa? We actually had this question earlier, Mommy Dawn, and Michael gave us a great insight on that one, where he knows some details, but he doesn't. He can't. There's stuff he can't reveal. But you can find it earlier in the interview if you'd like to find out his answer to that. Is there anything you want to add, though, Michael, as far as just Hoffa in general? Any thoughts on Hoffa?
Well, you know, a lot of people have used the whole Hoffa thing, you know, to gain some celebrity, to make some money. You know, there was a guy in Detroit that, you know, told the FBI he knew where the body was buried. The FBI actually went in with bulldozers and bulldozed a whole backyard, and they found nothing. You know, so a lot of people have tried to capitalize on that. But look, it definitely was mob related. There was no question about it. Hoffa got on the wrong side of the wrong people, and he paid the price in that regard. And I don't think that's a secret, to anybody. It happened that way. He was told to stand down, not to get involved in the union again. He didn't want to do that. So that part of the movie The Irishman was accurate. That's the reason he got hit. But I can't really add anything more to that.
No, absolutely. Thank you for what you've been able to share. We're in the final 10 minutes now, everyone. So get your final questions in. So go to the Discord if you'd like to. Shout out to all the moderators for helping go through all these questions. Shout out to JC as well for helping get through them too. I appreciate everyone submitting questions. We got a comment for you here, Michael from P Plastic, who says, "Hi Zaddy." Do you know what Zaddy is?
Hi, Daddy.
A zaddy. Well, he's calling you a zaddy, which is it's like daddy, but even sexier.
Oh, well, is that a question? I don't.
No, not a question. Just a compliment towards your looks.
Oh, well, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
There you go, PD. All right. But yeah, let's go through these final questions here. We got a bunch here. PD Plastic does ask, are you looking for a husband? And if you are, would you be interested in me, an Italian boy from New York City? I can answer that for Michael. He's married to a wonderful woman, Camille. So PD, unfortunately, I don't think I don't think you have much of a chance there. Okay, here. Well, this is a question here. This is a question here from Lord Nebu, who asks, I know you said earlier that going into the mafia, you went into it with optimism, but I want to know if towards the end of the the question is basically if towards the end of your time that optimism changed to pessimism, which in many ways it did. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, as I got into the life a little bit more, when I first came in, I had a very idealistic view of that life. I was very excited and exhilarated to be part of it. And, as you go on in years, you start to see that it's not what, you first thought it was going to be. And, I want to be clear on this. I'm not blaming anybody. I didn't have any resentment towards anybody in that life because I understood it. I was a part of it. But I realized it wasn't what it really was meant to be in many, many ways. And it's not a good life. Look, I always say the mob life is an evil life. I'm not calling the guys evil. I was one of them. I just happen to be very fortunate, very blessed. But, any lifestyle that destroys families the way I've seen them being destroyed is an evil life. It's not conducive to a good family life. It's not conducive, to a healthy lifestyle for people. So, when a lifestyle does that to people, it's not good. And I came to realize that. I saw it in my own family. And one of the reasons I walked away was, not to cause that in my family. And, people have criticized me for it. They've called me all sorts of names. I'm a rat and I'm a snitch and you don't do that and you broke your oath. But, it comes with the territory. I get it. But I believe I did what I did for the right reasons. And, I think I've been blessed as a result of that. And I just continue on. I want to mention something before we do go. A lot of people have suffered greatly through this pandemic. And I have to say that I'm one of the fortunate ones because I had a pivot. One of the things I've been doing all my life, I've been advising people both in business and in their life. I've been kind of a life coach without really being a life coach to so many people, encouraging them, trying to give them the benefit of my experience in life. And so as a result of the pandemic, we started to do this formally. And I've created a platform. There's a platform that's a free platform. You go on michaelfranzese.com and we're going to give you so much content. And people, we have over 12,000 people now in our network and it's growing, exponentially every day. People are encouraging one another, giving advice to one another. I'm jumping in there. We're providing so much content that is enriching people's lives. We have another platform there where it's called our Inner Circle, where I am actually doing life coaching to people. We do Zoom calls 2 to 3 times a month. We answer a lot of questions. We create programs for people to benefit by, whether it be in business or, in their personal life. And now we're going into even another level because it's been growing so much. And it's one-on-one personal coaching with me and my team. And again, we've created a program that we know is going to be beneficial. So if anybody was, enjoyed what they're hearing today and think that, we can impart some more information to encourage them in their life, whether it be in their life or in their business, please log on to michaelfranzese.com, explore it. Like I say, there's the free coaching site. You're welcome to stay in that. If that's all you need, then great. We put a lot of effort and attention into it. And if you want to go up on a higher level, have a little bit more access to me, well, that's fine too. But I encourage you to take a look and see if it's something that might be for you.
Absolutely. And the link is down below in the video description, actually, michaelfranzese.com. So check it out there, and check out, again, all of Michael's other platforms, his work on YouTube. And of course, check out Slices USA if there's a location near you. But yeah, Michael, you're a man that does many things. So I do appreciate your time. We have just a couple minutes left, but I do appreciate the time that you've given to us, as well as Camille for being there. I know she's there helping run the show. So thank you, Cami. I know you're back there somewhere. Yeah. We'll just run through the quick questions very quickly. The last couple of minutes. Alyssa Rose asks, "What's your favorite dessert?"
Oh gosh, like I said, I have a sweet tooth. It's terrible. I love ice cream, believe it or not. I'm an ice cream and yogurt guy now. I love it. But last night we went out and I had cheesecake that was just tremendous. So you put some sweets in front of me, I'm going to eat it. So, but ice cream for sure. I mean, I'm Haagen-Dazs and all the good ice cream.
You have a favorite flavor?
Coffee ice cream I love.
Oh, interesting. I see. I'm not a big coffee drinker, so I don't enjoy the flavored ones.
Really? No. I mean, I love strawberry. Just about any flavor that's good. I mean, I'll have it.
Absolutely. Very quickly, Mr. No Kid, if you can answer this very quickly, what is the biggest misconception about the mafia that everyone thinks is true?
Biggest misconception. One of the biggest misconceptions might be that that the mob, you come into that life and all of a sudden you become a millionaire. They're throwing money at you. Just the opposite. When you come into that life, you got to prove yourself to be an earner, and you got to pay up to the mob. It's like they're given to you. There'll be advantages by being part of that life. I think the reason I was successful is because I knew how to use that life to benefit me in business, but I had to apply myself, and I had to take advantage of what the life offered me. And another fallacy is that, people think when, you go to prison that everybody's throwing money at you, they're taking care of you and your family. That's not so. You got to have what you had on the street, and maybe that'll be protected for you, but it's what you built, not what somebody else is giving you. So you got to make your own way in that life. Nobody's handing you anything.
Fantastic. And lastly, we'll wrap it up with a question of mine, Michael, again, thank you so much for your time moving forward. I guess my question for you is this, looking back at your life, someone asked us earlier too, you've had a lot of moments like being in solitary confinement, very low moments. When you look back at those low moments, do you have advice for anyone that's struggling right now as far as how you've been able to turn your life around, and maybe words of wisdom that help them or anyone else that are maybe feeling particularly low at this point in time, especially, again, as we know, we're going through a pandemic where not everyone has been so lucky. What are your words of wisdom? Because I know you're a man with a very eloquent man, so I'm hoping we can end this with some of those Franzese pearls of wisdom.
Hope is everything. When you have no hope or you feel hopeless, it's the worst. I've experienced every emotion you can feel in life, from ecstasy right down to grief, everything in between. I've lived a pretty full life, but by far, the worst emotion you can experience is hopelessness. When you think it's over and you have no motivation to move forward in your life, it's very, very difficult. So you have to avoid that at all costs. It's interesting that today I reviewed the movie Shawshank Redemption, and that'll be up on Monday. We do Mob Movie Monday. And it was a brilliant movie. And obviously, fantastic. The thing that I was so attracted to is the fact that, the main character, he never gave up hope. He had 2 life sentences. He was convicted of a crime that he didn't commit, given 2 life sentences. But for every moment that he spent in prison, he never gave up hope. And as a result, he was able to get himself out of a bad situation. Same with me. When I was told, forget it, you'll never get out of prison again. Your family is destroyed. It's all over. I had a belief, in God, obviously, and I had a belief that I was going to be able to turn it around in some way, shape, or form. And I've done that. So, again, don't give up. If you're coming out of a bad situation, don't ever say, you know what, my life is over. I'm so bad. I can never be forgiven. I can never get back into the good graces of people on the street. That's not so. If I can transform my life, anybody can do it in their own lives. You just got to take the right steps, surround yourself with the right people, have the will and the drive to do it, and you'll be okay.
Thank you so much, Michael, for those words of wisdom. And thank you so much for your time. I know it's been over an hour now, so I thank you very much for your time. As always, I'm looking forward to reading your book when it comes out this summer. I'm looking forward to eating more Slices pizza with you someday, hopefully. I'm excited for future projects we'll get to work on together. I'm just very grateful of this relationship we've been able to build over the past year. It's been about the first time we filmed a video was about exactly a year ago, because our first videos came out right before the pandemic sort of hit. So, it's been a year. It's been my pleasure, and I thank you again for your time, and I know the audience thanks you too. So thank you so much, Michael. Thank you again to Cami as well. I'm going to hang up on you now, because what I'll do is I'll continue the stream just to wrap it up with everyone else there, to thank everyone for their time. But I'll hang it up with you now, and then I'll shoot you a text afterwards to say thank you again. But just know how appreciative I am.
Thank you very much. You know how I feel about you. You're my favorite young man. So we're going to do a lot of things together. And thank you, everybody that tuned in, especially all you people from the United Kingdom and from Southeast Asia. I have a lot of followers there. And I really appreciate it. There's a lot of content on YouTube and a lot of people to follow. And the fact that you're following me is most appreciated. So thank you all. Have a great, blessed night. And Aria will be in touch.
Absolutely. And again, Michael's links are all down below. Thank you, Michael. And thank you again, Cami. I'll see you both again soon in person, hopefully.
Okay.
Take care. Also love the family. And that's it, everybody. Let's go back to the face camera. We're back. All right. Thank you so much to everyone that tuned in. We'll just do a little wrap up now. Normally, I would probably want to play a game or something. Well, normally we would do that on stream. If this is your first time here on this channel, we usually just we have fun. We hang out, bring in guests. But sometimes, usually, the past couple of weeks before the last two interviews, we were streaming the horror game At Dead of Night, which we'll complete next week. We are 33% done with the game, and we're not giving up on it. So thank you again for everyone that's tuned in today and that's been there for previous ones. I know some people may not care too much about the mob life, so maybe these streams aren't for them. But I appreciate those of you that are here. But for those of you that want horror stuff, we'll be back to that next week. Excited to continue doing it. Subscribe if you haven't. Join the Discord if you haven't. A shout out, by the way, a huge shout out to all of you, but a big shout out to JC in the chat, our new YouTube live stream moderator, by the way, well deserved. Shout out to Nikki, Hanju, of course, Strawberry Possum. Strawberry Possum deserves a big shout out too, because Strawberry Possum has been taking all your questions on the Discord and helping me organize them, so I appreciate it. Let me just hang out with you guys for a little moment. I got the pizza here. I got cold. I should probably finish it. Hey, Ksenia. Ksenia's here, finally showing her face back in one of my streams after just appearing for a while. Jody, thank you. Be here. Melissa, lots of love. Mi-chan, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Yeah, Michael Franzese. What do we think about Michael Franzese? Let us know in the chat. Don't worry about being late, Atlas. It's okay. We're happy to have you here. Yeah, Michael, what do you guys think about Michael? I love him. Michael, he's always such a pleasure to work with. I think I'm really delayed on my live stream. Oh, I see what's happening there. I'm back now live. Okay, so I'm watching you guys down here. During those streams, whenever I'm looking away, it's because I'm looking at the chat. I always feel rude to the guests because I'm not looking at them, but that's just because I'm looking at the live stream chat here. I'm looking at the Discord here. But thank you again for everyone that's here. The pizza does look good. It's all dry now, so I should probably heat it up again before I eat it. But it was good. I wasn't just saying that. I was not just saying that. I'm not a big pizza person either. But I appreciate all the questions. Merle was going to ask if he would eat his vegan cooking. He might. He's a very open man. Hi, Merle. Oh, you at the grocery store. Lots of love to Merle. Yes, Tana. I saw your chats, your messages a few times, Tana, about the pizza. But next week we will return to keeping Jimmy at bay. So yes, if you're new to this channel, subscribe if you haven't. But if you're new to this channel, we don't usually. I don't even know what we usually do. I was gonna say we usually play horror games, but I don't even know what we do on these live streams. We kind of just explore life, the darker side of life, I guess. Because now we've done 2 interviews with the mob life. We've done horror stream games. So maybe we'll continue down that track for now. And of course, I'm excited. If anyone has any questions about Unsolved Network stuff, and now that I'm here, I have time. Lots of love to Matty Riri, by the way. Yes, Matty Riri is going to be going live after this, by the way. If anyone wants to tune into him there, I'm into that. But yeah, moderators did a great job. Thank you to everyone helping organize stuff. Yes, the pizza is good. I wasn't lying. I don't know if you guys heard that also in the chat in the stream, but Michael Franzese was talking about how this pizza took 2 years for them to research. So. There you go. Good stuff. Joe D, do an interview on crypto. Cryptocurrency is something I'd be fascinated to learn a little bit more about. I wonder who I could speak with. I think Matty Riri, he doesn't do crypto. Our friend Jack Dietrich has invested in Dogecoin. So I guess that's the only person I really know that's involved in crypto. Yeah, Rohan. Pronouncing your name correctly now, I hope, by the way, Rohan. Michael was a sick guy. Great interviewee. Sakya, thank you for the question. Thank you to everyone that submitted questions, by the way. I know Michael really appreciated them. He's always great. Yeah, Echo, you're right. Michael is cool. He seems to really regret the bad things he did. Yeah, and it's kind of the same. It's a situation where, he followed his father into the life and he left it for love, which I love. If you don't know his story, he left the mob life because he fell in love with wife Camille, who he's still with now. She was the one that was like behind the camera with him. Yeah, you know, like he's taken the bad experiences he's had, and he's found a way to, you know, try be an inspiration, a help to the youth. Like you mentioned, he goes to juvenile halls and everything like that. So, you know, that's why you know, you look at someone like him and you kind of, it kind of definitely, you know, it puts into perspective, you know, like kind of the idea of, you know, can people change over time, that kind of stuff. Oh yes, by the way, yes, Hanju Kim is doing a tabletop simulator giveaway on Discord if anyone wants to join for that. Carice, don't worry about missing the live stream. This live stream, we'll keep chatting for like another like 10 minutes or so. Yeah, I don't think we should start the game now because I have to do some editing for an Unsolved Network video, and I also have to, I think the title of this video is still like an ex-mob boss Q&A, so I think if people tune in for that and they see me playing a horror game, they might be a little confused. What's tabletop? Hanju, tell them in the chat what tabletop is. Aria, don't eat the pizza, Tana says. I think because it makes her hungry, but this pizza is good. I need to heat it up though. It is like a little dry now, but. For the people who want to mukbang streams, there you go. Let me get some water. But yes, yeah, I'm happy to keep chatting in the chat. I think I'm a bit behind. Ariel says I'd be down for an interview series of different types of criminals or ex-criminals. You know, yeah, I know too. I think it's a hard one though. I think I'd be very interested in that too. I just don't know. I know that, to be completely honest, I know that so much of you guys, so much of my audience comes from different things. Like a lot of people start subscribing or following because of MMA videos. Some people start subscribing because of Merle and I. Some people start subscribing because of Unsolved Network stuff. So I don't know. And that's what makes it difficult for me, is like I have to find a way to do streams or content around things that can hopefully appeal to as many people as possible, and stuff I enjoy, obviously. 'Cause I know, like, for example, some people that maybe got to know me because, sorry, I'm running over a cord. Some people that got to know me because of Merle and I maybe don't care so much about, you know, an ex-hitman or an ex-mob boss, but, you know, that's life. But yeah, I would definitely love to find a way to include more interviewees, you know, to speak out about, you know, their experiences. I think obviously having someone like Michael is he's a great guest, great get, I guess. I don't know why I air quoted guest, but yeah, he's great. Hey Atlas, good to see you here. The Mafia never attacked an orphanage just to make a point, Hanju Kim. Is that a question or a statement? I think you're right. By the way, is that okay? Colored McLovin is a moderator. Okay, I was confused because I saw someone in the chat earlier named McLovin, and he wasn't a moderator, so I was confused. Again, shout out to the mods for doing a great job running things. Strawberry Possum is in the Discord. Lots of love to you there. Saka Aria is busy. Yeah, I am a bit busy right now in terms of I'm trying to edit a big video that'll be out on the Unsolved Network next Saturday. So trying to get that done. But then we will still continue doing the weekly live streams. Next Thursday, like I said, we'll try to complete At Dead of Night, which is again a horror game that we started a couple weeks ago. About 3 weeks now. And we're at 33%, so we're slowly getting there. We're gonna get Jimmy. What's coming next? MK just JSM. That's exactly what's coming next. You asked. So we'll do a horror stream again next week, because I guess it is pretty amusing to watch me get scared at horror games. But then, yeah, maybe I'll bring more guests on in the future. I don't know who just yet. I've been lucky enough at BuzzFeed during my time to meet and work with a lot of interesting people. And so we'll see who next guest will be. You know, I've interviewed Damien Eccles, so he might be an interesting guest in the future. He was a man who was wrongly sentenced to death for a series of murders. So he's obviously a popular personality, not popular, but I don't know, popular that way, but he's a well-known personality. Thoughts on the Hotel Cecil? Oh, that's an interesting one, Captain Curly. The Hotel Cecil. Is it the Cecil or the Cecil? I think they say it's Cecil. I always pronounce it Cecil, but it's the Cecil, right? Anyways, for those who don't know, the Hotel Cecil is the one that revolves around the Elisa Lam case, as well as among other, Richard Ramirez, he did live there for a portion of his time. My thoughts on the case, fascinating. The Elisa Lam case, I think it's rooted in a lot more mental health and mental illness and I think that part gets downplayed a lot in some of the sleuthing that gets done around it. I haven't watched the Netflix series, but I've heard it's quite exploitative. And because of that, I don't really feel too keen to watch it. I feel like, I believe I saw someone tweet I saw someone tweet about how like they don't even interview members of the family, and it's more just like trying to sensationalize it a little bit. So that doesn't really jive with me. I think, I think it's, I think there's, I don't want to speak too much on it because I just don't know all the variables, but from what I've gleaned, I think there's a lot more mental illness at play, or there's mental health aspects that I don't know if that's the case, but they just haven't been explored as much as they should be in media. Not saying that the police or authorities haven't done that, but I think people that cover it haven't necessarily given it those theories a fair shake. Anyways, that was a bit of a ramble there. Please do crime organization in Central America. You're the president of my country, seems to be in it. Echo. Oh, what country are you in? Yeah, Central America. I mean, obviously, I did do a video with a man who claims to be the son of Pablo Escobar for the Unsolved Network, but he's not really in the world of Central American crime, so I don't think he's much of an authority on it. News sucks nowadays in general, Jody says. Yeah, it does. I saw someone in the chat earlier was in Texas, by the way. I hope you're doing okay. Musically Stoned. First capo of the Franzese family. The mods are soldados and part of his crew. Thank you for the insight. Have you ever seen Nick Crowley? Who's Nick Crowley? Is he a magician? I feel like I recognize the name, Nick Crowley. Aria, have you watched the Borat movies? I have watched the Borat movies. I enjoyed both. The first one's a classic. The second one's good too. It's obviously a little bit more scripted. Not the pranks are, but there's a lot more scripted portions. Whereas I obviously would have preferred more of the prank portions. But Sacha Baron Cohen's a very talented man, and love it. Your aunt's friend was the manager of this hotel, the Cecil. Oh my. Britt Hope, did she have any interesting stories for you? That's exactly right, Mothman Barbie. I feel like I'm behind on the chat, by the way, because I feel like you guys are just talking about the Hotel Cecil, whereas I was talking about it a while ago. So I apologize if my answers to your questions are coming very belatedly. The ethics on the last Borat are sticky. What is that? What do you mean, Maddie? I think Maddie's kind of... you know what? I think I've heard Maddie talk about this. I think Maddie's referring to kind of like... Are you talking about the Giuliani scene as far as like how they edited it? I think we've talked about this, Maddie. Let me know in the chat. Yes, but yeah, the documentary series on Netflix felt sensationalized to me, but then I also read about how it was quite sensationalist. I'm talking about the Hotel Cecil docuseries. And that's why I don't have time for it. I'd rather watch. I talk about this with Merle a lot. I have very little time to devote, at least right now, to watching movies or docuseries. So if I am going to do it, I prefer watching something that will, I'm not going to watch something unless I don't know how I'm going to say it. Yeah, that's basically it. Because I'll watch things. I don't necessarily go by reviews. Like if it's something that's like it is in the social discourse, like if it's like a movie like that everyone's talking about, even though it's not that great, I'll watch it just so I can be a part of that conversation. Because you kind of want to be if you're in the entertainment industry. But I'm not going to watch something like the Hotel Cecil thing. It's however many episodes that is, when I could be devoting that time towards something that's a little bit more, a little better. Yeah, the buffering put me a bit behind too. Yeah. Oh, you guys already had to go relive too. Oh yeah, by the way, yeah. So maybe because of the buffering, you guys might want to click the relive button to catch up. But yeah, I'm happy to chat for a few more minutes for a little bit. Aletta Alex. Oh, bye, Aletta Alex. Yes, see you next week. We'll be continuing at Dead of Night. Ariel, have you ever taken an MBTI test? Just out of curiosity, what is that? I have no idea what an MBTI test is. Imagine Ali G interviewing Michael. Now that's a funny thought. Very good. That's a very funny thought. Musically Stoned. Sarah asks, how is Sai? Well, Sai is actually, he's going to join us on the stream next week to say hello. So if you guys don't know Sai's my brother. He's going to pop his head in. I've been telling him if he wants to see him, so he'll pop in. Maybe he'll watch some of me playing the game. Havnia Scooby asks, Aria, what PC do you have, as I'm looking for a new one? I built a PC. That it feels like ages ago that I built this PC, but I just built it like in November. But yeah, it's a custom built PC, NZXT case. I got a 3080 somehow, magically. 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's an AMD Ryzen 5700, I think. Maybe 9600. I don't even know. I wanted a strong CPU for my editing. Oh wow, Sadie's family is in San Antonio. Yeah, hopefully Sadie's family is doing okay. Yeah, it's very scary right now. What is your ethnicity? Siana asks. I'm Lao. I'm from Laos, a little country in Southeast Asia. Tana, Aria, are you ready to demolish Jimmy? Yes, I am. I absolutely am ready to demolish Jimmy. Again, everyone, next week, tune in as we fuck up Jimmy, who is the psychopath that runs the hotel that we are going to try and escape next week in next week's stream at Dead of Night, a horror game. Vinny asks, Aria, I was wondering what was your most real paranormal experience. I never thought to ask. Oh, that's a good. Yeah, ask Maddie if you want tech tips from, because Maddie's the one that like Jack and I go to. Vinny asks, you know what? It's weird. I don't think I've actually had any real paranormal experiences. At least none that come to mind. Isn't that weird? I don't know if that's a weird thing actually, but yeah, it's just odd. I guess it's weird because I'm on the Unsolved Network, but nope. I believe in spirits. I believe in aliens. I just personally haven't had any paranormal experiences. Yeah, interesting, huh? Yeah. Rohan says Aria's going to destroy Jimmy with his girlish screams. Yes, I absolutely am. Graduated thought. Can you interview Freeway Ricky Ross? Ooh, who is that? I'm not familiar. Let me know who that is. That sounds fascinating. Just the name itself. Music said, hey, Aria, are you in the Mafia? You know what? This is funny you ask. When I was in high school, I tried to start a little group of friends and call ourselves the Lao Mafia. I don't know why. I was like 13. I thought it was really cool. So I technically was in the Lao Mafia. None of the other members were actually Lao. I just wanted to call it the Lao Mafia, but you know, yeah. Yes, Rohan, Merle will probably not be on next week, unfortunately, because she's not coming over. But she'll be on the stream again sometime soon for sure. Maybe she'll come on over for one of those. Thank you for your hard work. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Again, I know not everyone cares too much about the mob life, but I appreciate those that were able to tune in for that, because I know Michael appreciated it too, you know, for you guys to be there to watch and learn from him. So thank you to everyone that tuned in. Thank you for everyone for their questions. Sarah asks, we are the new Mafia. Yes, we are. I guess, yeah, we could have gone with a Mafia theme for the Discord, I guess, but we kind of ran with the Aria 51 theme suggested by Colored McLovin. But yeah, we are in a way a mob. By the way, join the Discord if you haven't. The link is up there above. Why don't you like Jimmy's talk? Yeah, why don't I like Jimmy? Because Jimmy keeps popping up behind me and whacking me with a mallet or whatever that cricket that cricket bat is. The nut job. Temple Snipes, great question. What is your favorite Mafia movie? Very good question. Oh, let me know in the chat what everyone else's favorite Mafia movies are. Mine would probably be, you know, it's a cliche, but The Godfather is fucking great. You know, I usually say I preferred Godfather Part 2 to Godfather 1, but it's hard. It's kind of like when people ask me between like the Before trilogy. I can't choose like Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight. It's like they're each great in their own way. So Godfather Part 2 is great in its own way, but probably The Godfather. Love Goodfellas a lot too. I watch Goodfellas. I've watched it. I rewatch it every now and then. I think I've rewatched Goodfellas more than I've watched The Godfather, actually. And I'm actually right now watching Casino for the first time. Never seen Casino before, and I'm watching it. It's good so far. I'm an hour in. It's a 3-hour movie, but it's good. Joe Pesci's great. Yeah, Goodfellas is great. Goodfellas is good. Oh, sorry, I'm ignoring people. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with everyone. Casino is good. Casino's good. Yeah. Yeah. The Brotherhood. Yeah. We are no longer the Brotherhood, McLovin. But yeah, Casino's good. I enjoy Joe Pesci in it. De Niro is like at his prime look at that phase. You know, he's like he's probably like in his 40s at that point. So he's looking pretty, I don't know what the rest was like. He's looking pretty, yeah, he's looking pretty like that. So, you know, he's fun. Yeah. So that's good stuff. Yeah, I think those two are the ones that stand out for me. Goodfellas and I like The Irishman a lot. I did like The Irishman a lot too. But, you know, I watched Donnie Brasco for the first time last year too, and that was very good too. I love Pacino. Thoughts on capitalism? You know what? Capitalism and politics, it's not so much that I don't want to talk about it. It's just like, so I will be completely honest, actually, this is what I'll say. Before I started at BuzzFeed, I was not a very politically inclined person, regretfully so. Luckily, you know, through people I've met, through work, I've become more educated and become more active. But even when talking about politics, I just never feel like I'm knowledgeable enough or as knowledgeable as I should be to speak on things. So I don't know if I can give much of an answer on that. I always feel bad. Yeah, when people ask political questions, I just don't really know, unless it's like a very clear cut one. It's like, is Donald Trump a cunt? You know, but for the most part, when it comes to politics, it's very hard for me to talk about because I never want to misspeak when I don't know anything. It's about anything in general. It's hard for me to talk about things I don't know too much about because I don't want to give misinformation. Aria's a big capitalist. I'm a big capitalist when it comes to monetizing my relationship with Merle, that's for sure. And BuzzFeed would certainly work too. Thank you, Tempo Snipes. Thank you for the super chat. Lots of love to you. Much love to you. Pounds. You said that in pounds. Does that mean you're in the UK's Tempo? In which case, thank you very much for staying up late. A shout out again, by the way, to Nikki and the other Europeans that are up at 2, 3 a.m. right now. I'll have to find, if there ever comes a time where I have more time to stream more than once a week, if I ever have a time to do 2 streams a week, one of the streams I'll make sure to do it earlier in the day so it works for Europeans. But Ari, you should play Phasmophobia in VR. I played Phasmophobia with. Did I play it with Maddie? I don't think I played it with Maddie. I played it with Miles, and Phasmophobia was fine. It was creepy, but the walking animations and the graphics kind of put me out of it. Honestly, it's like it's kind of spooky, but it's kind of like I played Devour with Jack on his stream, and like it was spooky, and yeah, the jump scares are kind of scary, but the graphics are just kind of like, yeah. Rohan, thank you so much. Yes, I'm about to head on out too, so if you have any final questions, let me know. Tia's Love, don't worry about missing the stream. This will be, as always, I'll put this back up live as soon as I'll make this available to watch the replay as soon as the stream is done. Oh, I'm losing my sense. I'm gonna eat this pizza too, by the way. Are you a dog or cat person? Hi, I'm neither. Well, welcome, Basil the Gremlin. Glad to have you here. 7 a.m. Oh, you must be in India. Is that correct? I'm talking to you. T asterisk LOL. Basil the Gremlin, to your question though, welcome for being you. Am I a dog or cat person? I am a dog person, but during my time with Merle's cat Genevieve, I've grown to appreciate cats a lot more, and so actually I've been open to the idea of getting my own cat in the future. I think my brother would too. Not that we'd have one here, just because we don't have the time or resources to take care of a pet. But I think I appreciate how calm, at least how calm Merle's cat is. Because she's very sweet. She's very loving. And maybe because she's older too. Megan Lovelace, oh, thank you so much for the $2 super chats. Jimmy is waiting for me. Well, he's waiting for all of us. I think that's what's good about those streams, is that at least I get to go into that fucking hotel with all of you, so I don't have to deal with with Jimmy on my own. But thank you so much for the super chat. Again, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone being here for for the love. You're in Saudi Arabia, 7 a.m. I appreciate you being here in Saudi Arabia. Graduated thought. Ricky Donald Freeway Rick Ross is an American author and convicted drug trafficker, best known for the drug empire established in Los Angeles, California. Well, if he wants to come on the stream, I would happily talk with this Ricky Donald fellow. I'm sure there's very fascinating insights there. I'm not a cat, Kelly O'Shea says. I would hope I think I'm definitely more of a dog. If we were talking about if I was an animal, I would definitely be more of a dog than a cat. But it's 5 a.m. in Belgium. Oh my God, Green Dog, go to sleep. We're about to end the stream right now, but I just wanted to just hang out with you guys a little bit to thank you all for staying on the stream. Julia D, I love you too. Lots of love to you. Carice, have you ever heard of Erica? It's the same as Dead of Night. I have not heard of Erica. I'll add that to my list though for sure. We actually have on the Discord, join if you haven't, we have a channel for stream suggestions, stream ideas. So if you have ever games you want to suggest and some of that, throw it in the Discord. I think next up we'll try Layers of Fear is what was suggested by Color McLovin and a couple people. So I think we'll do Layers of Fear, but then maybe we'll try Erica out. Because I know Devour was on our list, but then I played it with Jack and Devour was like, it was fine. Looking forward to Saturday, Aria. I'm looking forward to Saturday too. What's happening on Saturday? Oh, you're talking about the video? I have a video coming out on the Unsolved Network next Saturday. That's what you're talking about. Love from Papa Julina. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here, Kate. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. Yes, I'm definitely gonna eat and drink some water. Yeah, I have not drank any water. Oof, I really should be drinking water, huh? I have not drank any water during the stream. Usually I have my big jug here. Look, I haven't drank any of it. That's not good. If Maura were here, she would be telling me to drink. But yeah. Would you rather have boba or smoothie? Oh, you know what? I finally cracked and had my first boba again for a boba again for the first time. I had a boba again for the first time last week when Merle and I were driving back. My first boba in over a year, and it was pretty great. So I'm gonna try to do one boba a month, one boba a week, and that's it. Because if I go back at my peak. I was doing like one boba, I was doing at least 3 to 4 bobas a week, which not good for my bank account or my belly. And that's the night. Good night, Barbara. See you next week. Yes, it'll be a screen. It'll be a screen for sure. Oh, of course, Julia. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Yeah, we're gonna wrap up in a few minutes, and then Maddie Reeves is gonna go live. You guys want? We'll ping it over there. Ping you guys over there. But he's doing that. I'm into that. He'll be chatting about the MCU. Which I love, by the way. By the way, WandaVision, anyone? My brother and I are going to watch... anyone watching WandaVision right now? I won't spoil anything, but my brother and I, starting last week, we now watch it at midnight here. We're going to watch it tonight at midnight because we don't want anything to get spoiled for us because, unfortunately, he had one thing spoiled for himself because we waited too long. And so now we just watch it at midnight. So tonight at midnight, I will take a break from my work to to watch WandaVision. Yeah, WandaVision's great. Christian's in the chat. Lots of love to Christian. Yes, Joe, join the Discord for sure. Vinny, Aria, I also forgot to ask, did you watch the Super Bowl with Merle? I know it's unrelated. Super Bowl, I did not watch. I can't get into American football. I'm sorry. American sports in general. I just never, I think it's I grew up in Thailand and overseas. I just didn't grow up with the NFL, the NBA. Like, honestly, I understand the NBA. Like, I understand the rules. NFL, I understand some of the rules. Like, I understand maybe 50% of how it plays. Like, I understand a touchdown. I understand, well, I don't even know what a field goal is. I was going to say, I know what a field goal is. I can't even think what a field goal is. So there you go. That kind of answers that. Yeah, see you all on the server. Yeah, we're about to wrap up in a couple minutes now. So you only watch the Blazers. Yeah, Christian is a friend of mine from Portland. Well, Christian's over in DC now. How's it going in DC, by the way, Christian? Football is confusing. I think you're talking about NFL. If we're talking about soccer, I am a big football fan. I'm a big fan of Arsenal. They drew today, unfortunately. My brother is a big fan of Chelsea. Again, my brother will be on the stream next week too, by the way, for those of you that have been asking. I've been in America my whole life, but I don't like American sports. Toes boo. Fair enough. I know sports isn't for anyone anyways. For everyone. Yeah, this is still on, Stuart. We're still on, baby. We're still on. Well, we're going to wrap up. We'll just wrap at 8. And then because that way it'll help my OCD. We wrap at 8. But yeah, go. You're a Chelsea fan? Yeah, my brother's a big Chelsea fan. But yeah, final 2 minutes. What are we going to talk about? Life, I guess. Oh, no. But honestly, thank you very much to everyone that tuned in today, that has been tuning in, that's been watching. Join the Discord. Please do join the Discord. I say that a lot, but please do. If you haven't joined the Discord, the link's there. I hang out there during the week. We chit-chat about life. It's a great, lovely community. And thank you to everyone that's part of that community that's been made it such a lovely little space. We do movies. We might probably do a movie again this Saturday. We watched Mamma Mia last week. We watched Mamma Mia 1 and Mamma Mia 2 last Saturday. It was a marathon. I was editing and we were watching Mamma Mia in the background. So we'll probably do another one this weekend. We play Among Us. If you like playing Among Us, hopefully I'll be able to join an Among Us game again soon once, my project gets done. Again, I have a project for the Unsolved Network that will wrap up by next weekend. So fingers crossed. Stuart McFarlane, how is the Hitman doing? I think he's doing well. I think John's doing well. He's a good man. Again, as good as a hitman can be. For someone who's killed people, I won't say, he's a good man, but considering what he's trying to do with his life, I respect him for that. And want to bet how much longer this lasts? This is going to last for 1 more minute. I'm going to wrap it up now, Ashley. So give you spoilers for the new videos. Very quickly for anyone from the Unsolved Network that's keen. Next week, it's a big investigation. The video is probably going to be over 20 minutes long. It's a big investigation that I spent all of January and the start of February filming. I've been editing it for the past 2 weeks, which is why I've been kind of out of my mind, but I'm excited for you all to see it. It deals with, all I say is it deals, the video I have coming out on the Unsolved Network next Saturday deals with sex predators online. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but that's all I will say for now. It deals with sex predators in a very specific community of people. Someone came forward to me with a story of theirs, and I did some investigating to learn more about the predators in this community. So it's a fun ride. It's my Chris Harrison moment. Not Chris Harrison, sorry. Well, he's got his own bag of issues right now with the Bachelor guy. I mean, Chris Hansen moment. He's also got his bag of issues too. But it's not really, I wouldn't say I confront any predators, but I learn about predators. But anyways, I'm going to wrap up now. So thank you so much to everyone for being here. Lots of love. Maddie Riri's live. We'll link that in the Discord. And yeah, thanks as always for tuning in. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Join the Discord if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. And thank you as always for being here, being great viewers, submitting great questions. I know Michael appreciated it. So lots of love to you all, my friends. And stay